My name is Lemn Sissay and I'm a poet. I became commissioned to write a poem about something connected with the physical Olympic site. There is so much that has happened on the Olympic site that the job to be inspired by one particular event was quite big, you know. And I found an article dated 1888 by a woman called Annie Besant. She was supporting the first mass walkout of a factory in trade union history, and that factory was the Bryant and May matchmaker factory, and the people who were striking were the women and girls that worked at that factory. And in that article she says, Annie Besant says, if only there were a poet who could write and support these women, but failing that, I shall. That was dated 1888. I had no idea that that would be waiting for me at the end of that article, which is called White Slavery in London, and which talks about these women and their exploitation by the workers. The Bryant and May factory is right on the edge of the Olympic site. The women would have walked through the Olympic site or through that area and lived in that area to go to work at the matchmaking factory. The name of the poem is Spark Catchers. And in the poem, I imagine that the workers would go out in night under a phosphorus moon, which links with the phosphorus that they would be working on in the factory. There was an illness called phossy jaw, which used to eat away at the jaw of the women, and it was a horrible, horrible illness. Those women, I imagined, would go out at night and practice spark catching. They'd be in a circle and they'd practice spark catching, because the worst thing to happen in the factory is a spark. And whenever there was a spark and it flew up, everybody would be quiet. This is like my imagination, this is the poem. And one woman, because of the spark catching practicing that they'd done beneath that phosphorus moon the night before, which in truth represents women coming together and discussing what's wrong with the worker, with the work and with the management, etc. When that spark hit, everybody in the factory went silent. They stopped their jobs. One woman would dive off the floor like 10 feet high. She'd catch the spark in slow motion. She'd twirl, pirouette, and then land on the floor like a crouching tiger with her fist held high. And all of the other women would applaud. And then they get back to their work. And that sort of like collective, inspirational, organisational, virtually spiritual and physical skill is what I wanted to recount in the poem. I also wanted to make a link with history, to say this has always happened. History is now. What those women did then affects how women are now and how society is now. So I think of history as a very present thing. You know, the Olympic site looks shiny and new and bright and clean, but it's built on land which has a history which feeds it. You know, it's history which has led to the Olympic Games, you know. And they in turn will become a historical monument that people will refer to in the past. And when they do, they'll see that poem and they can refer even further back. I believe in poetry in public spaces. I believe it draws us closer to the environment, that it allows us to engage with the place that we've always known in a way that we've never known. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing.